Hello, my friend. Welcome to today's podcast. The title of this episode is Why You Can't Speak Fluently. I know this is a strong title. Maybe it feels a little bit uncomfortable, but it is very important because if you are listening to this podcast, it means you are learning English and you want to speak better. You want to speak with confidence. You want to open your mouth and feel free. But maybe right now you feel stuck. You feel like you understand English, but you cannot speak fluently. Don't worry, you are not alone. Millions of learners around the world feel the same way. Today, we are going to talk about the real reasons why speaking fluently is so difficult. And not only that, but we will also talk about what you can do about it. So, get comfortable. Maybe you are walking, maybe you are cooking, maybe you are just relaxing in your room. This is your time. This is the moment for you to think deeply about your English, about your journey, and about your future. The first truth, fluency is not only about grammar. When people think about fluency, they often think about grammar. They believe that if they study enough grammar rules, they will speak fluently. But let me ask you something. Do children study grammar before they start speaking their first language? Of course not. A baby doesn't read a grammar book. A baby listens, copies sounds, repeats words, and slowly starts speaking. Grammar is useful, yes, but grammar is not fluency. Fluency is the ability to express your ideas, to connect words smoothly, and to speak without stopping every second to think about the rules. So if you are only focusing on grammar, maybe that is one reason why you cannot speak fluently. The second truth, fear blocks your tongue. Another big reason is fear. Many learners are afraid to make mistakes. They think, what if I say something wrong? What if people laugh at me? What if I sound stupid? These fears are very common, but they are also very dangerous. Because when you are afraid, your brain becomes tense, your body becomes tense, and your tongue feels heavy. It's like trying to run while carrying a heavy bag. You cannot run fast. Fluency needs freedom. You need to allow yourself to speak, even if you make mistakes. Because mistakes are not a problem. Mistakes are the bridge to fluency. Story: Maria from Brazil. Let me tell you a story about Maria, a learner from Brazil. Maria studied English for 7 years in school. She knew many grammar rules, she knew many words, but she never spoke. One day she came to London for a trip. She went to a coffee shop and she wanted to order. But when the barista asked, "What would you like?" Maria froze. She knew the words. She knew the grammar, but fear closed her mouth. After some seconds, she just pointed at the menu. She felt embarrassed. She told me later, "I realized the problem was not knowledge. The problem was fear." And that is the same for many learners. The third truth, you don't practice speaking enough. Let's be honest. How much time do you spend actually speaking English? Not reading, not listening, not studying grammar, but speaking? For many learners, the answer is almost zero. They spend hours reading books, hours watching videos, but only minutes speaking. This is like trying to learn swimming by reading a book about swimming. You can read all the theory, but until you jump into the water, you will not swim. Fluency comes from practice, real practice, speaking out loud, talking with people, talking to yourself even. The mirror technique. One simple technique you can try today is the mirror technique. Stand in front of a mirror and speak to yourself in English for 5 minutes. Describe your day, talk about your feelings, or tell a story. At first it feels strange, but it trains your mouth, your tongue, and your brain to work together. and slowly it builds your confidence. The fourth truth: thinking in your language. This is a big one. Many learners try to translate every word from their native language into English before speaking. For example, in your head, you think in Arabic or Spanish or French. Then you try to translate. But translation takes time. That is why you pause. That is why you stop. That is why you feel slow. Fluency means thinking directly in English, not translation. It's not easy, I know, but with practice it becomes natural. Story: Ahmed from Egypt. Ahmed told me, "When I tried to translate from Arabic, my brain felt slow. But when I started thinking in English, even simple words, I felt free." For example, instead of thinking أنا جائع, كيف أقولها بالإنجليزية? I just thought directly, I am hungry. And it worked. So step by step, you must train your brain to think in English. Another reason why learners cannot speak fluently is vocabulary. Not because they don't know any words, but because they don't know the right words for daily life. Maybe you know words like photosynthesis or democracy, but when you go to the supermarket, you don't know the word for receipt or change. Fluency is about being able to use common, simple words quickly. Words that you need every day. So if you want fluency, don't only study big words. Focus on the small, daily, practical words. Have you ever been in a situation where someone speaks English to you and you understand them, but when it's your turn to answer, silence? Your brain is full of ideas, but your mouth refuses to move. You just smile awkwardly. This is very common, and it happens because your passive English, listening and reading, is stronger than your active English, speaking and writing. It's like a computer with information inside, but a broken keyboard. The information is there, but you cannot type it out. Story: Kenji from Japan. Kenji is a student from Japan. He watched English movies every day. He understood a lot. But when his teacher asked him a simple question like, "What did you eat for breakfast?" he could not answer. He told me, "It was like my brain was full of English movies, but my tongue was empty." This is exactly the problem of silence. You have knowledge, but you don't use it. The struggle of overthinking. Another daily struggle is overthinking. Many learners try to prepare the perfect sentence in their head before speaking. For example, imagine you want to say, "I went to the park yesterday with my friend," but in your head you are thinking, should I say go or went? Is it in the park or to the park? Do I need the before park? Should I say yesterday at the beginning or at the end? By the time you finish thinking, the conversation has already moved on. This overthinking kills fluency. The struggle of speed. Many learners also speak very slowly. Not because they don't know English, but because they are afraid of mistakes. They pause after every word. For example, I went to the park yesterday. This makes the listener feel uncomfortable, and it makes you feel nervous. Remember, fluency is not about being perfect. Fluency is about flow. Even if you make small mistakes, if you keep the flow, you sound much more natural. The struggle of accent and pronunciation. Some learners feel shy because of their accent. They think, my pronunciation is not good. People will not understand me. But let me tell you a secret. Everybody has an accent. Even native speakers from different countries have accents. For example, a person from London sounds different from a person from New York. A person from Australia sounds different from a person from Canada. So don't be ashamed of your accent. Your goal is not to erase your accent. Your goal is to be clear. Clarity is more important than perfection. Story. Fatima from Morocco. Fatima told me, "When I first spoke English, people asked me where I was from. I felt shy because of my accent. But then I realized my accent is part of my identity. I just need to be clear, not perfect." And this is the truth. Fluency is about expressing yourself, not about sounding like someone else. The struggle of lack of environment. Another big challenge is environment. Maybe you live in a country where nobody speaks English. Maybe your family, your friends, your colleagues all use your native language. So even if you study English, you don't get the chance to practice. This is like learning to play guitar but never touching a real guitar. Fluency needs an environment. You need to hear English, you need to speak English, you need to live with English. Creating your own English environment. If you don't have a natural environment, you can create your own. For example, change your phone language to English. Watch movies without subtitles. Join online communities. Talk to yourself in English when you are alone. Record yourself speaking and listen back. These small steps create an English world around you. The struggle of motivation. Sometimes the problem is not skills, but motivation. At the beginning, learners feel excited. They want to study every day. But after some months, they lose energy. Why? Because fluency takes time. It is not instant. And when results are slow, people feel frustrated. Motivation is like a battery. It goes down if you don't recharge it. Story. David from Mexico. David studied English for 6 months with great passion, but then he stopped. He said, "I don't see progress. Maybe English is not for me." But after he joined a speaking club, his motivation returned. He saw progress again, and now he speaks confidently. So remember, progress is sometimes invisible. You may not notice it day by day, but after months, you will see it clearly. The struggle of comparison. Many learners compare themselves with others. They think, "She speaks better than me. He learned faster than me." Comparison kills your confidence. You forget your own progress because you are busy looking at others. Fluency is a personal journey. It's like running a marathon. Everyone has their own pace. What matters is that you keep moving forward. Reflection exercise. Right now, I want you to pause and think. Which of these struggles do you face? Silence, overthinking, accent, environment, motivation, comparison? Identifying your personal struggle is the first step to solving it. Before we finish this part of the podcast, I want to ask you something, my dear listener. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss the next parts. Your support really helps this project grow and reach more learners around the world. And now I have a question for you. Where are you from? And do you struggle with the same problems we talked about today? Like fear, silence, or overthinking when speaking English? I would love to hear your answers. Share them in the comments or send me a message. Because when we share our experiences, we realize that we are not alone. We are all on this journey together.